Hello guys, welcome to your full body stretch flow. We are emphasizing hip mobility in our practice, but we're also going to be restoring, resetting, mobilizing, stretching our neck, our shoulders, and our back. And we're going to begin and end with a little bit of breath work. I believe breath is the foundation of releasing tightness and tension in the body. So I think today's practice will leave you feeling really open and relaxed and centered. So I hope that you enjoy. You don't need anything besides your own body weight, so let's hop right into it. You're gonna come to your back on the mat. And we're gonna be here for a couple moments before we begin to move the body. So if you want to take a moment to find a comfortable position, whether that's with the legs straight or the knees bent is up to you. And I like to have the left hand on the ribs and the right hand on the belly. Taking a moment to relax and arrive. With the eyes closed, let's begin to tune into our breath. Inhale through the nose, exhale out the mouth. Inviting energy and openness and presence into your experience and your body on those inhales. And on those exhales, giving yourself permission to let go of any negative thoughts, any judgmental self-talk, any external voices. And we want to use this time to collect information about how we're feeling. So through our presence and our mindfulness practice, we're going to notice how the right side of the body feels. How does the left side feel compared to it? Where are we holding our emotions that often manifest as tightness or tension in the body? And the first step is just becoming aware of these things. You don't need to worry too much about what you're going to do with that information right now. Simply tune in and take inventory of how you're feeling today. Nice deep breaths as you do that body scan. And on your next exhale, can you relax through your face, your jaw, your tongue, your neck, a little bit more, feeling the shoulders start to melt into the mat. Feel the breath becoming deeper and slower. Take one more moment here. And then the next time you exhale, you can start to open your eyes. Hopefully already feeling a little shift. And then you're gonna go ahead and bring your arms to T. And then we're gonna go ahead and step the feet to the width of the mat and keep the knees bent if they are already, and if they're not, go ahead and bend them. We're gonna tip the knees over to the left. Hold for a moment. You're gonna inhale through center. The breath is so important here. Exhale, Tip knees to the right. And since today's practice, although most of our classes are like this, but this is an extra slow and controlled class, it's gonna give us that time and space to set that intention to follow through with connecting to our breath. Oftentimes we create tension in the body because without even knowing it, we're holding our breath, we're clenching our jaw, shoulders are shrugging, fists are clenching, all those things we might not notice we're doing throughout the day, but it really does create a shift and an impact when we become aware of it. The next time you're back through center, pause, and then we're gonna stretch the legs out long. Take a moment. You're gonna take a big breath in through the nose. Left leg is gonna lift to tabletop. You're gonna grab that knee with your right hand. On your exhale, begin to tip the leg over to the right. And once you're there, I like to pick up my bottom hip, that right hip, and kind of scooch it back towards the left, and you can look over your left shoulder here. So eventually the shape we want to aim to be in is hips/glutes stacked, and we want to rest that left knee on the mat. It might not be there today. You can use your hand on that outer thigh to help guide it down. And then just exhale, melting a little deeper. Sometimes I feel a crack or a release through my back here, which is a good thing as long as there's no pain. One more breath. Relax left shoulder. And then you're gonna come through center, rolling onto the back. And then you're gonna keep that left knee in tabletop, and you can grab onto the knee with your hands. And we're gonna start to draw slow circles with that leg. So using the hands on the knee to facilitate that rotation. We hug it in, we press it to the left, we straighten the arms as the knee presses away, circle to the right. Good, deep breaths here, last two. And last one, wherever you are, let's reverse those circles. And you might notice as you tune in to those mind to muscle connections that there's an area on this circle or this rotation that feels a little sticky or tight. Again, just gathering that information, breathing into it. And then the next time you're through center, you can just stretch that leg out. Arms are gonna come back to T. We're gonna take an inhale through the nose, right leg lifts. Grab onto the knee with your left hand, tip the leg to the left as we pick up that bottom hip, stack glutes, and bring your gaze over your right shoulder. On your inhale, feel that twist increase as your chest rises up. Exhale, relax a little deeper. Good, feel that nice stretch in the side of your neck as well here. Good, and then you're gonna gently, when you're ready, roll to your back. You're gonna keep that knee lifted, hands are gonna be on the leg. Let's start to draw those circles with the knee. And as that right leg moves, I want you to keep everything else still so that left hip doesn't lift off the mat. Your whole attention should be on that right hip socket, that right hip flexor. How does it feel? Oftentimes we don't move the leg like this in our everyday life. So it's not surprising that for some of us it might feel slightly uncomfortable at first, and then through that discomfort, you should feel a lot of release and relief. Pause where you are and reverse the direction of those circles. You're using your exhales to detach from tightness and tension. Moving that energy around in the body. This is your last one. Good, and then you're gonna go ahead and stretch your legs out. Take a moment here. Toes are pointed, and I want those inner thighs pressing together. So almost like you have a piece of paper between your thighs and your calves, and you want to squeeze it so it doesn't blow away. You're going to reach your fingertips all the way behind the head, so you're in a full body stretch. You're going to point your toes. This really helps. And we're going to inhale. On your exhale, you're going to tuck chin to throat, reach arms over the chest, and you're going to roll yourself all the way up. If you need to use your hands to get up, if you get stuck halfway, it's all part of it. Forward fold at the top, reach for the ankles, tuck chin to throat. Breathing into the back of the legs before we tuck those hips under, really rounding through the back, slowing it down, full body stretch. 2 more times like this. Use your exhale, point your toes to come up. Good. If this is too much, which I do encourage you to just practice. It doesn't need to look perfect every time. You could also hug the knees into the chest, grab behind the thighs, and rock yourself up. That's a nice modification for these roll-ups. This is your last one. Flexing your abs, forward fold. This time I want you to flex your feet. The most important thing here is that the legs are straight. So don't bend the knees to grab the toes, because if you do this, there's really not any stretch happening. You want to keep the legs straight. Doesn't matter if you're grabbing the thighs, the knees, the shins, ankles, or the toes. Wherever you are is perfect. And you're just going to breathe into it. And as you continue to breathe, you're going to melt a little closer to those thighs. And maybe you can walk your hands a little closer to your ankles. 2 more rounds of breath. Focus on the back of the legs, the back of the neck. Good, 1 more, melt 1 inch closer. Good, and then you're gonna roll all the way up to seated. Give yourself a big heart, center opening, shoulder roll. You're gonna swing your legs around, and we're gonna meet in tabletop. And once you're there, check in, shoulders over wrists, hips over knees. Let's move through some cat-cows. So widening sits bones, dropping belly, stretching the neck. But make sure the chest doesn't collapse down. You still wanna keep it lifted. On your exhales, we're gonna reverse, tuck chin, tuck tail, round through the back. And we always want to encourage that flexion and extension through the neck, the upper back, middle back, lower back, and those hips. And as we move through each position, in each exercise or pose in today's practice, we want to do that same body scan we began with. How do your shoulders feel? What's going on in your lower back, in your cow and your cat? Are you holding the breath without even noticing? You're gonna do 1 more each way. Good, and then the next time you're in a flat back, neutral spine, you're gonna step your hands just 1 inch or 1/2 inch wider than your shoulder width. You're gonna take an inhale as you tuck your toes. Exhale, pike the hips. Downward dog. Take a moment here. Let's do some pedals through the ankles. 1 goes down, 1 lifts. Through those heels, but take it slow. I know it's easy to switch those feet as fast as you can, but you're not gonna get the same release unless you hold it, breathe into it, and move through it. Good, check in with your downward dog here. We don't wanna be too far apart with hands and feet. You should be looking somewhere around the feet, but we're not bending the neck too much. You're pressing into palms, shoulders are relaxed, face is soft. Then the next time that right heel comes down, let that left heel meet it. Pause for a moment. Take a big energizing breath. On the exhale, you're gonna float your left toes up into your three-leg dog. Try to drop your right heel, square off your hips, take a breath. And then we're gonna float past our three-leg plank, press the mat away, and then you're gonna step that left foot in between your hands, and you're gonna untuck your back toes and drop that knee. We want most of the weight in that front heel, and then when you find your balance, you're gonna rise up, drop your shoulders, lift your palms, maybe you find a little back extension. Good, and then on the exhale, you're gonna press into your left heel, start to straighten the leg, gently bring those fingertips towards the mat. They don't necessarily need to touch. A nice modification here would be yoga blocks, so you're a little more elevated. You could even just have your hands on your hips here, or fingertips are down. Left toes are pointed up. You're finding a nice deep stretch through your hamstring. And let's take a big inhale. You're gonna start to float the arms up, set that left foot down, press it forward. You're opening up your right hip flexor, so feel that nice stretch, square off your hips. Good, let's send it back again on the exhale. When we straighten the leg, we want to think about left hip pulling back. Gaze down, breathe. Good, and then we're gonna float forward one more time. Nice, gentle back bend. Good. And then you're gonna bring the hands down. Right hand is on the inside of the foot, underneath that shoulder. We're gonna tuck our right toes, lift that right knee, and then float left fingertips up. So same thing here, we're stretching and lengthening through that right leg. Think about right hip going back, heart center opening, breathe. Lean into that slightly uncomfortable stretch, and then come all the way through center. You're gonna set your hands on either side of that left foot, and then once you find your core, you're gonna step left foot back into that nice downward dog shape. Big energizing breath. Good, from here, we're gonna shift forward to our strong plank. Hips low, neck long, hold for 3, 2, 1. You're gonna set the knees down, untuck the toes, press back to a quick child's pose, legs are in parallel. Breathe in that energy, that warmth. And then we're gonna ripple forward, knees are down. You're in your modified plank or push-up shape. And then we're gonna start to bend the elbows, slowly lower the chest. Take a nice big breath. You have two options here. You can set your forearms down on the mat and find a baby back extension. Or if it feels good in your body today, you can press the mat away and find your full back extension, dropping shoulders. Good, let it go. And then when that feels good, come all the way down. You're gonna rest on your belly. So legs are long. You're gonna bring your arms to a goalpost shape. So palms and forearms are down, and we want those elbows in line with your shoulders. Let's begin by coming onto our right ear. So right ear is rested. We're gonna take an inhale through the nose as left knee bends. Left thigh is gonna start to lift, and we're gonna bring that leg all the way to the right. Take this slow. If you need to check your screen to see what I'm doing before you try it out, feel free to. It's a pretty intense stretch, not only for that right shoulder, but for the back as well. Take a couple of breaths here. And then you're gonna gently roll onto your back, straightening that leg. Left ear is gonna come to the mat. Right knee bends. Inhale, right thigh starts to lift. Point your toes. Exhale. Tip all the way over to the left. This is great for our posture. We're pulling shoulders apart. It's similar to that original twist we did at the beginning of our practice, just in the opposite direction. When that feels good for you, you're gonna roll onto your belly first. And then as a quick transition, let's come right onto our back. Perfect. We're gonna lift those knees to tabletop, both of them. Hands are gonna be on the knees. And we're gonna start to draw big circles with both the legs. So similar, again, to what we did at the beginning of our practice. I find this version we can get a little deeper into it with both the legs moving. Really slow, big circles. Inhale, maybe as the knees hug in. Exhale as they press away. Noticing how the body feels in this exercise. And also noticing that gentle rock, or maybe even kind of massage sensation on the lower spine as the knees move. Wherever you are, you're gonna pause, and we're gonna reverse. Moving those legs in the opposite direction. Good, and maybe one direction feels slightly different than the other for your legs. Once we situate things happening in the hips, the whole body feels better. Last one right here. Legs are gonna stay in. You're gonna grab onto the back of your thighs. We're gonna find a little rock with the hips. There's a little lift. And when you find a bit of momentum, you're gonna tuck chin to throat, press into your feet, and rock up. And then you're gonna round through the back with control, rock back, rock up. You can even play around with hovering your feet. Last one. Awesome. And once you're at the top, we're gonna open the knees apart, feet are together, find your butterfly forward fold. And if you want to open the legs more, you can always press your feet further away from the hips. I like to sometimes use my forearms to gently guide the knees a little closer to the mat. Melting on your exhale, 1 inch closer. Last round of breath. Good, you're gonna come all the way up. You're gonna swing your legs around and we're gonna find tabletop again. Once you're here, let's move through a couple cat-cows again. This time, feeling free to move intuitively. It might feel good to circle the wrists, to press back, to move the hips, the ribs. You could even isolate the neck here and just do circles with the nose. Or just that tailbone. Letting the breath move you from one position to the other. Good, take one more moment. And then the next time you are back, in your tabletop, you're gonna step those hands 1 inch further apart. You're gonna tuck your toes, exhale, downward dog. Taking a moment to arrive here. This time, instead of pedaling the feet, let's lift both the heels, and then both the heels drop down. Let's inhale through the nose, feet lift. Exhale, sink into it, press into your palms. Good, pairing this movement with the breath, so hold as you exhale. Inhale, slowly lift. Let's do one more. Awesome work. Take a moment. This time, we're gonna transfer the weight to our left foot. Right toes are gonna hover to prep. Hips are square. Lift that right leg up, 3-leg dog. Drop your left heel. Breathe into that power and energy. And then when you have your stability, you're gonna shift forward. And then you're gonna step that foot between your hands. Drop your back knee, untuck your toes. Press into that front heel, start to lift your chest. Lift your arms, drop your shoulders, breathe. Good. On your next exhale, let's press into that right heel to start to straighten the legs. The first one always challenges that stability a little bit more. Either hands are on your hips, they could be on yoga blocks, they could be on the mat. But we're focusing on the back of that right leg, toes are pointed up, breathe. Good. On your next exhale, let's start to press that foot down, sweep fingertips, lift the gaze, open the heart center. And again, thinking with that left hip flexor. How does this side feel compared to our first one? One more time back in that hamstring stretch. Good, sink a little lower, maybe melting chest closer to that chin. And one last big lift. Melting into it, relaxing into it. Palms are gonna come down for a moment. And then just that left hand will be underneath the shoulder on the inside of the foot. Back toes tuck, back knee lifts. Exhale, right fingertips, twist up. Good. Make sure you're not dumping into that left shoulder, still staying lifted. Twist a little deeper. Good, breathe. And then you're gonna come all the way down. We're gonna frame the foot with the hands. Find your core, find your strength, and then step that right foot back to your downward dog. Take a moment right here. Good. We're gonna shift forward to our plank. Hips low, neck long, strong core. Good. 2, 1. You're gonna set your knees down, untuck your toes, round to a quick child's pose. Breathe. Expanding through your back ribs. Breathing into that flexion through the spine. Hips sink a little bit deeper towards those heels. Take an energizing inhale as we shift to our modified push-up or plank. Good, neck is long. Let's begin to bend the elbows, lower the chest. You have your 2 back extension options, forearms or hands. Press the mat away. Lift your chin, exhale into it. Beautiful, stretching the front side of the body, and then you're gonna lower with control. And then from here, you're gonna gently shift over to your back. Good. And once you're there, let's step those feet to the width of the mat. Bring your arms to T. Let's take one final round of those knee knocks we began with. It's like they're windshield wipers, shifting from the left to the right, holding on each side for a moment or two. These knee knocks really represent everything we've been doing in our practice today, which is encouraging that internal and external rotation through the hips. And like I said, the root cause of a lot of the body's discomfort in the neck, the shoulders, the back, stems from issues in the hips or tight hamstrings. 2 things we worked on today. Next time the legs are through center, you're gonna find a comfortable position to finish our practice in. I personally like the knees bent. I feel like it rounds my back a little bit better, but if you prefer legs straight, go ahead and lengthen through the legs. And then once you arrive in your final position, let's bring those hands to the belly and the ribs. You could also be in butterfly here with your knees apart, feet together. You could have blocks underneath your back. Allowing on your next exhale the entire body to relax onto the surface beneath you. Feel any tightness, any tension, any stress, any pain, leaving the body on your next exhale. Make it slow and make sure you get every last drop of that breath out through the mouth. And then the next time you inhale, you're breathing in openness, peace, inspiration, energy, love, light. We're the creators of our own experiences, and we do have more choice than sometimes we believe when it comes to how we're feeling. Our experiences, our perceptions, and ultimately our realities. So we can use our meditation, our mindfulness practices to first take inventory of how we're feeling, what are we holding on to, and then we can make thoughtful decisions about what we want to let go of, what we want to filter and detach from. And when we cleanse and clear through that detachment, we're creating more space to hold on to and to invite emotions, mindsets, realities that align with us and make us feel really, really good. And the first step of this practice is, again, that awareness. So as we start to create some space between our practice, and as we step into the rest of our day, simply notice when your mind has slipped back to a narrative or a story that's negative or that doesn't serve you or that drags you down. Without judgment, without spending another moment in that space, simply redirect those thoughts to something that makes you feel really good and something that resonates with your authentic self. Take 3 more rounds of breath here. Exhale out the mouth. 1 more round of breath. Locking everything you did into place, sealing in all that magic. And then the next time you exhale, you can start to open your eyes. Take a moment here, invite some gentle movement into the body. You You could do some wrist circles, knee knocks, turn the head. And if you have time in your day to hang out right where you are and just sit with all of this energy for a moment, that's awesome. But if not, you can make your way to a seated position. Stretch the chest, the shoulders once you get there. And you guys are all done. Thank you so much for joining me today. I hope that you feel relaxed and centered. I honestly could feel your energy through the screen, through the camera, and I appreciate you being here so much. I'm sending all the love and light to you. I hope you have an incredible rest of your day. If you are not subscribed already, I would absolutely love if you would subscribe and like this video, and I will see you in our next practice.